And welcome once again. I am the database guy. I hope you're well. Please like and subscribe as always. And I'm doing this and I do it because it is something that I really do enjoy doing. And I want to bring the information that I know to you. We're in video 5, which is presentation 10, which of course we're still in the intermediate level. And we've done the following 4 above. And this one here is an interesting one today because it has to do with how you refer, and this is going to be important for you, how to refer to methods, forms, controls, whatever it might be from a form or a subform. And I want to bring something up here for you. This you can find, actually, I can give you the website. But as you see on the left here, it tells you where you are. So if you're on the main form and I want to refer to the record source of a form, it's me.record source. So let's go into our database, our main form. Well, I don't actually have to do this. We're going to just go into Visual Basic. You can Alt F11 or do it the way I did it, whichever is your pleasure. Let's close everything down from the right here and then bring up our main form. So I'm in the main form here. So I'm going to write some code below this. Me dot, and you can see IntelliSense come up. And there is, let's see, me dot record source. There it is. And that's a method, well, actually property rather. Whenever it's pointing with a finger, it's a property. Whenever it's moving, it's a method. And you can see the methods are refresh, repaint, requery, among others that you will see in here. So as you see, according to this, it is absolutely correct. Now, if I'm not in a main form and I need to refer to it, let's get this out of here. Let's close this. And if we go back to our form here, we know that the subforms, well, the main form here has the portion on top here, the ISBN title, year, publisher. Anything else is a subform. So it doesn't matter which one we really go to. We can take any one we want. And we'll pick one. We'll pick this one in particular, and I want to just go to property. Oh, I had to highlight it the right way. The border of it, it's a little tricky. Come on. Properties, and this particular one here is the subform. The source object is subform DE books, or that's the one it will be. So if I go to that here, and here I want to point to the record source or do something to it, it's me.parent. All right, and we see the parent property come up, dot, and let's look at how it is here. Record source, record, yeah, source. Hello. Now, I just want to get you to know something. Notice IntelliSense is not popping anything up beyond parent. And that is because in some cases, um, it can't see that far into it, but it can see the parent method. And part of the parent method, if you look that up online, if you go to see that, is going to be a record source. All right. And when I'm going to just save this without any changes, yeah, it's going to ask me, since I've made those changes, what I want to do. So we can see that here, right? Now, if I'm on subform 1, um, right, which connects to subform 1 here, it's the same thing. So if I come back into here, for example, and go me dot record, a lot of, there we go. It's the same thing as I did on the main form, right? Same thing. It's no different, okay? You're still referencing the same. So what the takeaway here is from lines 1 and 2 is that when you're on a form, to get to the record source, it's a me.record source, whether it's the main form or the subform. Now, the one to the left if I'm on the main form, you notice how this has to be written. And this exclamation point is known, you have either the dot or the bang, B-A-N-G. The exclamation point is the bang, and that gets you to, it gets you to things that you need to reference that aren't direct. So in other words, in this case here, I go me bang, I'm looking at subform 1, I'm looking at form, if I'm on, this is on the main form and record source. Now, if I do this in my main form, I'm not going to see IntelliSense. So we come back here and I do a me bang. Okay. SFRM, DEBOOKS, right? And then I have to, that's my subform 1, and I have to go dot form, which is unusual, but I have to. And then I have to go dot record source. All right. And again, none of this is IntelliSense picking it up exactly. When I come out of it, you'll see things capitalized. But the point is, I have to know how to write this. All right. And let's save this here. Yeah, don't change anything. So the point on line 2 is, right, is that if I'm on the main form, I have to point to the subform and then the form method and then record source. The reason I have to point to the form method is because I have to look for the record source from the form, not from the subform object itself. So if I'm on subform number 2, a different one, and the point of this one here, all right, is to, in a very similar way to being on subform 1, if I'm on the main form. Now this also implies, by the way, that I have a subform within a subform, which I've always said is a big no-no. I don't think you'll need to worry about any of this. But if you ever have a subform and a subform, you can only do it really once. It's just too complicated to go beyond that. So it's me subform 1 dot form, right? With not a period, or not a period there, but a bang again, subform 2 dot form dot record source. So what you see as a pattern here is that when you're referring from one form to another, right? It's always, if I'm referring from my main form to a subform, it's always me bang subform dot form. But then if I have to refer to another subform, it's another bang subform 2 dot form dot record source. And again, this only applies if the subform is within a subform. And this is something I don't ever really do because it's a little complicated. You can do it, but it's a little bit much. Now, if I'm on subform 1, it's a little bit easier. It's me bang subform 2 dot form dot record source. It's very much, it's identical, if you will, to what you see here, right? These two here are really the same, all right? So a takeaway from lines 2 and 3 is that if I'm on one form and I'm referring to a subform, then it's basically me bang subform dot form dot whatever the uh, property is, in this case, record source. Okay. So what happens about a control, okay? Control, you could use the bang property or you could use the dot property. I prefer to keep the dot property whenever possible. So what we're going to do here is me dot, and you see IntelliSense, txtisbn. All right, I'm referring to the control. So if I come back here, as you see here, that's all I'm referring to. Now, why would you do that? Well, if I want to get the value of the control or something like that, I could do that, right? You could use the bang, but I prefer the dot because IntelliSense comes up and it picks it up nicely. So what if I'm on my subform? Well, it's pretty easy. It's me dot parent, and then you have a bang, the control name. And there's good reason why. Because you have to reference outside the form. And whenever you reference, again, we've seen that with any time referencing outside of a form, a bang is needed. Um, and that's pretty interesting. Now, if we look at the one below it here, this one, it's identical to what we saw. And you could use, and I'm going to copy and paste this because you could use this. This is really what you should be using. Copy and paste. Right, you should be using this. So these two lines are identical. And as you see, um, ignore all of that and ignore all of that. Okay. So these two are the same. So if I'm referencing a control from a form, it doesn't change. All right. And the same really for here too. Okay. But again, this one here, we're going to get to this in a moment. This is very much like this. All right. Again, this subform is within, subform 2 is within subform 1 for this example. Now, so on the main format, I think we went through this one here, but let's go through it again if I didn't. I'm getting a little confused, but you have the bang, the control name, and or you could do the dot. So one of, yeah, these two here, we just went through them. Uh, it's a simple one. It's as simple as the record source. Use the dot whenever possible, and IntelliSense will come up. Now, if you're on the subform and you want to look at that same control on the parent, it's me dot parent, and then it's that bang, that exclamation point, and the control name. And it's unusual to do that. But again, since I don't have the control on my subform, I can reference the parent property and then from there, bang it to find the control name on the parent form. And that's really what that is. When we come down here, if I'm on subform 1, I'm sorry, if you're on a main form rather, and I'm looking at subform 1, I'm on main form here, looking at subform 1. So I do me bang subform 1. All right. I have to go and look at that. Now, can we do a me dot? Let's just take a quick look at that. I think, if I'm right, you can. Yeah, you can do a me dot rather than a me bang, and it should work out just as well. So here it could be me dot subform 1 dot form, and then a bang. So let's see if we can even do that here, if it'll even IntelliSense will even come up. Me dot sfr authors dot form, and it does come up for IntelliSense, which is good. All right, we don't have to bang it out there, but we will have to get back, bang it when we need to get to right. So it's me dot subform 1 dot form. We need to bang it to get the control name because that one, that control is not on the main form. So whenever you don't have something that's on your form, you've got to bang it. Usually that's when the bang comes in. And over here, again, this is the same as this. So if we come down here now, if I'm on subform, if I'm on the main form looking at subform 1, I can do the same thing here, me dot subform 1 dot form, but I got to bang subform 2 dot form and then bang the control. So I'm looking at not one, but two steps away from the main form. And it's a little trickier, but again, this subform is contained within subform 1. And so you got to be careful on this. Typically, you'll only see 1 and 2 lines here, these 4. You won't have to worry about much more from there unless you ever put a subform within a subform. And again, there are, and I'm going to show you the challenges at some point of that. Now, what if I'm on subform number 1 and I want to see subform number 2? Well, it's very much like what you saw here, right? It's me dot subform 2 dot form, bang, control name. Because you can reference that the same way you can reference it here. In other words, if my subform is part of my form, I can do the dot, and you just saw it, me dot subform dot form. I can do the same thing here, me dot subform dot form, and I bang the control name. Okay. We have some other ones here. The control properties are similar to that as well. Um, Same thing. Now, on this enabled portion here, you have to have either true or false. Now, on the main form, for example, let's take a look at that so you can see it. Actually, you see it right here. I don't have to type it in. Me.command button dot enable dot equals false. So you have to set a false or a true here. If I'm doing it from the subform 1, I do it with the parent method and I bang out. If I'm on the subform here, I'm sorry, in the main form, looking at the subform, I do it me.subform.form, bang, control name, dot enabled equals true or false. All right. And again, this one here is the same as this one here, but I'm pointing to the control on the subform here. I'm pointing to the control on the main form here. So that's the scope of that you need to be aware of. And then, of course, this is pretty much identical to what we saw above here. They're all the same, all right, if I have a subform within a form. Now, to refer to a subform control property like a source object, if you're on the main form, right, you don't have, right, and I'm on the main form. On a main form, I don't have that. There's a not applicable here, and on a subform one, that's not applicable. But if I'm on the main form and I want to refer to subform 1, and you saw that before, so it should be a me dot or a me bang. Either one will work. Me dot subform dot source object. Let's just see. I don't think it's going to be able to do that. SFRM dot source object. Yeah, it does it. So it works. Um, and you see IntelliSense come up and give us that nicely. So, and then of course here, obviously, I can't refer to it. If I'm on the subform, I can't refer to the source object from the subform. Now, if my subform 2 is within my subform 1, then I get the same thing here, right, as I get here. So I can basically, if I'm on subform 1, do exactly what I did as I did in the main form, as you saw. And if I'm on the main form, I have to bang it. Well, I don't have to. I can do me.subform1.form, and then I got to bang it to subform2.source object. All right. Um, Properties are really the same way. But this one here takes you to, now if you're on subform 2. So now we go from, sorry about that. Now we go from being on the main form to subform 2, and it gets complicated, right? So if I'm on subform 2, I can do me.parent.parent.record source. It's very weird. And this one you've seen before. If I'm not in these forms, if I'm somewhere else, and you've seen me use this, it's the forms method or forms object method, main form name, and then the record source. You've seen me use that before. So in other words, if I had to do that in code or something like that, I would do that. If I'm on subform 1, you've seen this one just up above me.parent.record source. But if I'm not in any of those forms, now I have to bang, again, forms, main form, then subform 1, then dot form, and dot record source. And of course, obviously, subform 2 is simple. It's me.record source. But here it gets really complicated because now we start at the forms object with a bang. We go to the main form with a bang. Then subform 1.form. Then a bang again. Then subform 2.form.record source. Basically what you're doing is you have to first point to the main form, then find the subform, then find the form object, then find the subform 2 object, then find the form object, and then find the record source. It's quite involved. And if you don't get this right, it's going to flag you for an error. And again, a control here from subform 2 obviously is the me control. Here it's me parent because this subform 2 is within 1. And then, of course, on the main one here, it's the parent-parent. I've never really used this parent-parent, but then again, I've never had. It's rare for me to have a subform within a subform. I think this gets complicated. And again, as we see here, it's very similar to what's above, but now with the control name. And then, of course, property and so forth is very much similar as well, right? It's almost no different to that. And then the source control. The only thing that's applicable here is if I'm on subform 1, and I'm referring to subform 1, I'm sorry, not in any of those forms, right? If I'm on subform 1 and I'm not in any of those forms, I can refer to the subform 1 source object by banging it out here, going forms, the main form name, and again, this is the name of your main form, not just main form. And this is the name of your subform 1, not just subform 1, and then of course the source object. So I have to sort of bang it out in that way. And you'll get used to this, and we'll go and remind you of it, or I will. But the main point of this that's really, really important for you to understand is, and you see it here, and you see it here, and here's some of the examples, right? Forms, my main form name, my subform name, my control, my enabled. And let me see if I can locate this one. So um, this one would be an example of, so I'm on, in this case, I'm on my main form, and I want to refer to my subform control, right? So let's look at subform 1. I'm on my main, and here we go. So me, let's see. I have me, forms, main, subform, control. All right, so it's me, main, subform. All right, so this would be a case of I'm not on the form itself. Well, I am on the form itself, but it would be a case of um, where is the control? Right here. Me, forms, main form, subform, one form, control name. That's what we're looking at. No, we're not looking at that. Take that back. We are not looking at that. It should be on the main form referring to a sub. If you're on the main form and you're, okay. So the control name, I could have done it with me, I guess, not forms. I suppose I could have. Um, but I did it with the forms method. So here I don't have to worry about forms, but I could have done this as me dot. Oh, actually, no, I couldn't have. Me dot subform DE authors. Let's see here. And that would have been, so I'm on the main form and I want to refer to dot form and then the control name, right. No, I'm on main form and I want to refer to, yeah, want to refer to, right, dot form dot and bang control name. So bang and then control name, and so I could have done it this way, probably. It would have been, I'm used to the other method, vase basically, so I could have done it this way, I suppose. And it would work. The reason I use the forms method as a general rule is basically what I'm saying is the me automatically points to forms DE main, all right? So basically, this portion here is covered in the me portion. So you can see everything after it is the same. So it would work. And that's really what me does. Now, coming back to our little sheet here, they bang it here. You don't have to because you can get it without the bang. Let's look at some of the other ones down here. So these are sort of the same, right? And I could have put them differently. Now here, I'm referring to controls that are on the form, so this is fine, all right? What else? Let's see. Yeah. So and that's really how you do this. Now, you can use this sheet. I can give you the link for this sheet. Um, main form is the name of the top level main form. Again, subform 1 is the name of the subform control on the main form, and subform 2 is the name of the subform control on this first subform. So this kind of thing here, and again, I don't go crazy with it, but we could have just shorten this up and taken these out to put me dot, and it would just as well work. Um, in fact, let's just do that now. Let's clean up some code. Um, and we should be okay by running our compile for any errors. So now, if I'm in a in a module with a method of data member not found. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So I've got to put this as boy. Wow. Of course, it's not found because it's the main form, right? All right. So let's get this, and yeah, I should have Jose, and here. All right. So we should be good here. Yeah, and we are. We don't have any errors at this point, but here now we can refer to the subform and make changes there as well. So if I come up to here, by the way, I don't have anything on any, well, I do have it here, but here, right, if I were to change this, let me come back here. Now, if I'm on subform 1 referring to the main form, okay, here's where I have to bang it out, right? If I'm on subform 1, I'm sorry, me parent control name, right? Me dot parent control name. So what I could do here, is come over here and go me dot parent. Whoops, I've got to move this out a little bit for IntelliSense. Parent. Let's see. So let's see, me dot parent control name. Yeah. And in this case here, by the way, we were looking at the caption method, so we need to get that too. Here, by the way, here's an interesting example. I'm on neither form here. DE main, I'm on neither form. So this is a case of, right, using the forms, the subform authors, the form method, and the requery. This is an example of not being on either form. All right, that's a difference here. Let's see if we get any errors. We're good. And here, so this one here is also a question of me. Let's see, DE main subform. Oh, that's a case 2 of I'm on my subform authors, I'm going to another subform. So again, I'm in neither one here. And this one's just a test one. So we've seen this example here I can't do anything with because I'm going from one subform to another, but they're not encased within one another. So we're going to save this. And this should run fine. So when you've seen examples here, now I've used me parent and I've used other ones of over here. Let's see, on the main one here, just me subform, and then of course the control. These are ways of getting to that information without using the whole. You can use the forms method as you saw and do it openly as I did it here. Okay, I could specify and go through the forms, but I'm likely to have errors. And I've encompassed errors until I get it correct. And so you have to really know how to work with that. But when you're not, and in this case, we are not in any form that we're related to, this form's DE main. Well, we are in DE books, so wait a minute. So this one here, oh, actually, we're going to subform authors. So we're going from one subform to another. We can't do anything here. We wouldn't have me parent. I don't think we could do that, but because you can't do that. You can go me parent and get a control on the parent form, but to get to another subform, no. This is the example of that. And same thing, not here. Same thing here, right? So I'm going to the other author's form here, but I have to go through the main form to get to it. All right, so I am going to probably post this as a link, or you can find this. I'm not sure where I did find it, but it's on one of the websites, and it's very helpful. All right, and that really concludes this one. And this is really something you need to have. And we're going to go to that sheet again and again and again, so you understand specifically how to refer to things. Now, there are some reasons for referring to things, and I'm going to just right here give you some information. So let me do an ABC here. A, you could do it from VBA events, right? Which we've seen could be either main form or subform events, right? You could do this from modules, which is basically no form. All right. You can also use this, by the way. Okay, so the other one here is query criteria, and there's a couple of situations with that, and one of them is that when you open up a query, or when you run a query from a form, and you have it pointing to a control, it'll see the control, it'll run the query in some cases, but there's a certain case, and I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, because all this to remember it takes a bit of doing, but it'll say, sorry, you can't run that query, you're missing data, and it's not seeing that control for some reason. So you have to actually update the SQL programmatically. It's really interesting stuff. So there's 3 reasons why you would do this. I'm trying to think of anything else beside modules. No forms, no form, in other words, on that one. So in any event, that is our referring to methods, forms, controls from forms, and subforms portion. It's an important one. It's one that will continue to grow. When we come back, we'll get back onto our database and updating that and fixing certain things within it. And wherever you may be, have a great day, evening, morning. Again, like and subscribe as always, and I will see you soon.